Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so this is why I wanted to. You brought up shipbuilding. I put this document
Mhm.
together here. Why the Trump class is fucking retarded. So I went through and I broke down a bunch of statistics between the Iowa class battleship, the Ticonderoga class cruiser, and the Trump class battleship.
The
Now,
Ticonderoga cruisers are technically still the backbone of the U.S. Navy.
yes. Now, the only reason I included the Iowa class in this is because, damn you. The only reason I include the Iowa class in this is because they're calling the Trump class a battleship, and he had compared it to the battleships of old. So I just used that as like a frame of reference. It wasn't. I obviously these are two different types of ship. It's not an actual battleship like a World War II battleship, but
Mm.
scale wise, it is quite much very similar. So if you look at the length, I'm going to go Iowa class, Ticonderoga, and Trump. I'm going to throw a bunch of numbers out. You've got the length of the Iowa is 887 feet. Ticonderoga's 567 feet, and the Trump class is 840 to 880 is the projected. The meters are 270, 173, 260 to 270. Width for the Iowa is 108 feet, 33 meters. Width for the Ticonderoga is 55 feet, 16.8 meters. Width for the Trump is 105 to 115 feet, 32 to 35 meters. Displacement is for the Iowa is 48,000 to 57,000. I think that vast difference is just based on ammo and crew and that sort of thing. For the Ticonderoga class, 9,600 tons, and for the Trump class, it's 35,000 to 39,000 tons. Speed for all of them is 30-ish knots, 30 to 35 for the Iowa, 30 to 32 for the Ticonderoga, 30 for the Trump. Crew is where it really differs, and this is just for the Iowa. The Iowa stands out. It's 2,700 is their crew complement, compared to the Ticonderoga's 300 and the projected 500 for the Trump class. So the cost is where things really also stand out. So for the Iowa class battleship, the cost in 1940 was 100 million. Today's day money, that is 1.7 to 2 billion. For the Ticonderoga, they are roughly $3.7 billion a ship. And for the Trump class, they are projected at 10 to 15 billion dollars a ship. Now, keep weapons. I didn't factor in the Iowa's weapons just because they are. We're talking two different things. We're talking Revolutionary War cannons versus modern day howitzers. It's not the same. So the only comparison for weapon systems on here is between the Trump and the Ticonderoga. Now, the Ticonderoga has two MK-41 vertical launch systems, 61 cells each. So that's 122 missiles. Those can be Tomahawks. Those can be several different types of missiles. The Tomahawks can be nuclear capable, but they do not carry nuclear capable Tomahawks standard on the Ticonderoga. They
That we
have
know of.
that we know of. They have two 5-inch deck guns, two phalanx close-in weapons, which are those, I believe those are those miniguns that'll shoot down missiles and shit. They have 6 torpedo launchers, 8 Harpoon anti-ship missiles, and they are capable of having 2 Seahawk helicopters on board. They can, again, I wrote down here, they can carry nuclear capable Tomahawks. They are not capable of carrying hypersonic missiles. So, roughly, now I'm assuming this is all together. I couldn't find in my research. I'm assuming this is like full decked out. They can carry 122 missiles, 6 torpedoes, 6 anti-ship missiles, blah, blah, blah. For the Trump class, they can carry 12 cell conventional prompt strikes. Now, my understanding of those is those were similar to like ICBMs. They're potentially the hypersonic missiles.
Yep.
They can carry 128 cells of the MK-41 vertical launch system. So the Tomahawks has 2 rolling airframe launchers. From my understanding, those are basically the phalanx close-in weapons. The only difference is I believe the rolling airframes fire like anti-missile missiles. So just a different defensive thing. It also has two 5-inch deck guns. Has capable of carrying one VTOL or Osprey or like a Chinook or something along that. It is potentially capable of carrying a railgun and one directed energy weapon. Now, what it is, the only difference if you take out the railgun and the directed energy weapon, which the directed energy weapon we still don't officially have anything like that. The railguns, I believe some destroyers do technically, and maybe some light cruisers have railguns. Even still, this ship is 3 to 4 times as much as a Ticonderoga class cruiser, and minus the 12-cell conventional prompt strike missiles, it's basically the exact same ship.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that it probably has a better power plant.
Probably I mean, it would have to for a railgun.
Ship of the future that, they're thinking future weapon systems. It has one hell of a power plant in it that's capable of, let's say future laser weapons. I don't know what it takes to launch a hypersonic missile versus a Tomahawk missile, but I'm going to guess there's potentially a lot more that goes into something like that. Let me hit you with some facts of my own that I happen to know in my studies of American warfare. The Ticonderoga class is kind of the backbone, right?
Yes.
I pulled some stuff up, but let me hit you with something. The Ticonderoga class was a 70s design. A 70s design.
So is the F-22.
We made them from 1980 to 1994. We made 27 of them. We only have 7 in active service today. 20 were retired. They made the last one in 94 and it cost $1 billion. Here's the thing. They get cheaper if we build them to scale. The problem is we haven't built a fucking... the last ship we built was the Ticonderoga in 1994. That was the last time we built an actual, naval blue water ship. Was 94. Because we gave up. The Soviet Union collapsed. We're like, oh, well, we can...
America's won. We never have to do anything again.
We never have to do anything again. So we let all those shipyards go to waste, really. Shut them down. They were left to do maintenance, the occasional, special project, those stupid, ugly-looking stealth destroyers that cost,
the
$13 billion a piece.
I think we only got 2 Zumwalts at the end of the day, and I believe one of them was, like, rusting or something like that.
They can't even go into the open water because the aluminum frames were cracking.
So
for some reason we thought aluminum frames, but that's my whole point was like, I get it. It seems ridiculous, especially because an actual aircraft carrier costs $15 billion.
Yeah, so that was about to be.
But that's because we know how to make aircraft carriers. It takes literally a decade to build an aircraft carrier.
Well, so that was about to be my next point. Is I was in the process. I didn't finish it. Of I believe the Fords are the most modern carriers. I didn't get to finish my research on them. I was putting it together, but
I believe the JFK just got put into. Okay, so we have the General Ford or whatever it is. No. One of them just entered Ford. I think that one is currently out in the Atlantic. It's in active service.
Is that the one bombing Venezuela right now?
Actually, yeah, you're right. That is the one bombing us. But I think the Navy just took possession of the JFK. Obviously, it needs to go through sea trials and stuff like that and be outfitted with, but we have the hull. We have the ship. It just got taken in by the Navy. They got to install everything they got to install, radar systems. But we literally just took possession of that in like 2025. So, and I think the next one might be like 5 or 6 years out or some shit like that.
So that was about to be my next point. Is that
it takes a decade to build one of these motherfuckers.
Well, and that kind of leads into what I'm arguing against for the Trump is, from my understanding, twofold. A, the Navy has been asking for more aircraft carriers and more. They want more drones and they want more long-range strike craft. They want more things that they can send out to fight instead of big ships. Keep in mind, like, again, I've made this argument. There's a reason every country stopped building giant battleships, is because A, they're incredibly expensive, they're very time consuming to build, and they are giant targets that when you lose, you've lost all that resources, you've lost all the manpower, you've lost all the money. They typically come with a big morale boost. I mean, think if the first, like, let's go in this hypothetical reality, the USS Trump, yeah, or USS Defiant Trump class goes out to the Pacific to fight China and gets sank on its first engagement. Gonna be a big fucking issue.
Yeah, I mean that's bound to happen.
The thing is from my understanding, again, the Navy has been asking for more carriers. From what I was looking into, there's only one shipyard in the United States that can build carriers, and that shipyard would have to be used to build a ship the size of the Trump class. So they would effectively, by building the Trump class, unless they, dumped a bunch of money into more shipyards and stuff, if they've switched over to building the Trump class, they can't build more carriers because they will only be able to build one or the other. Again, another reason I think the Trump class is stupid. We are paying. Here's the other problem. Like, here's my other thing. So, like, I've got the weapon systems pulled up here. Is that 12 cell conventional prompt strike? Is that one railgun? Is that one directed energy weapon worth? You can get threefold firepower out of three Ticonderoga class, like assuming we started building back up. You could build three of these for every one Trump, and that's being conservative. You might even be able to squeeze a fourth. Let's be real. That $10 to $15 billion is probably going to go up by the time this is all said and done.
That Ticonderoga class it's been outclassed. Let's be honest.
Well, obviously it would need updates and stuff like that. But like you've said, it is the backbone of the U.S. Navy right now. Our sailors are already, used to it. They already know what they're doing. If you look at the firepower, minus the super weapons that the Trump class is allegedly going to be able to carry, they're pretty evenly matched, pound for pound. So wouldn't that firepower, in my mind, is that 12 missiles, one railgun, one directed energy weapon worth, what is that, 244 potential Tomahawks you could field, 12 more torpedoes, 16 more anti-ship missiles, I mean, to me, you're fielding more firepower spread out over multiple ships instead of everything on one ship.
Back a ship designed in the 70s?
Oh, I'm not saying it can't be modernized. And also, let's be real. I mean,
a war in 2030?
Let's be real. I mean, the F-22 was designed in the 70s and 80s, and it still outclasses everything Russia and China can field.
Yeah. Here's the...
Like just because it's old doesn't mean it's bad, and that doesn't mean you can't update
it. I sent you a text. This is something that I learned of yesterday. Let me know.
I think we already knew that. I think that's been news for a long time. They've been China hiding missiles on merchant ships for Taiwan War. I mean, they've been taking anything that's why on paper China's Navy
9 potentially ballistic missiles packed in containers. It's got a railgun attachment or radar.
Okay, let's hold on. Do any of us have faith in a Chinese railgun? These are the same people that may have been filling their fuel tanks up with water.
Yeah, but hypothetically here, the guy I was listening to yesterday, he big naval warfare YouTuber and stuff. He's like, what's stopping China from mass producing these fucking things? Say all they need is 15. And we can't track them. We don't know, right? Hypothetically, we could not. We'd have to have a great surveillance operation to see where all these ships are. But what if they have 15? And mind you, the Pacific Ocean is huge.
Right.
They have 15. They park 10 off the coast of Hawaii. And no, they park 5 off the coast of Hawaii and 10 off the coast of California. In international waters, Chinese merchant ships are traveling across the Pacific all the time. Sometimes they come in groups and stuff like that, just traveling together. hypothetically, if they do a first strike on Taiwan and a first strike on the U.S., it's happened to us before.
Right.
Can't say that they. You literally have hundreds of ballistic missiles being launched at U.S. naval bases and air bases
Mm-hmm.
across the Pacific in a first strike, and we don't see it coming. That's the kind of shit we need to be aware of.
Well, and that.
And the fact that they could mass produce those and field them faster than we can build a fucking destroyer, a single destroyer, that's a problem.
Well, and I'm with you on the shipbuilding aspect. We are 100% in agreement with that. We need to bring shipbuilding back to the U.S. We need to be able to. I think they said at the height of World War II, we were bumping out a carrier every 15 days or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100% on board with that. I think, to my point, let's say they do a first strike, isn't that all the more reason to have multiple ships that can field as much as one of these Trump class?
No, I agree. I think we need.
I think
maybe not a Taekwondo class, but we need a cheap, mass-producible ship.
Agree. Actually, that's a great point. Yeah, no, we need something that we can. Hey, once a week in at the height of a war, we're pumping one of these ships out a week.
Mm-hmm. We did it with the Liberty ships. I mean, they were more or less just used for transporting cargo, but the Liberty ship kind of carried the United States in World War II. Those were the ships that they made the ice cream. One ship dedicated to ice cream. That was a Liberty ship.
Now we have the one ship dedicated to Burger King. That's what we do in the U.S. now. Put a Burger King anywhere in the world in 24 hours.
We need something that we can mass produce that could slug some cruise missiles, some Tomahawks, something. If the Chinese are putting fucking 79 ballistic missiles on a fucking a merchant ship, we got bigger problems.
No, I agree, and that's where I think we need to move to smaller ships with more armaments, aircraft carriers, things like that. I think the Trump class, and this goes into what we've discussed before about Trump's cult of personality. I guarantee the conversation went.
Make it beautiful.
Exactly. I guarantee the conversation went something like this. Why don't we do battleships anymore? We did battleships all the time. We were the greatest power. They were the biggest ships. And somebody's like, "That's an excellent idea, Mr. President. Let me draft something up for you." And they went to some fucking naval guy and said, "I need a big battleship." And the guy's like, "A battleship is stupid. We can't field that anymore." Well, put missiles on it. We still use missiles, right? And okay, I can make you a guided missile cruiser. We have that. There's a Ticonderoga. Well, no. We need bigger. We need bigger, and we need to be able to put energy weapons on it and ICBMs. And some guy, probably underpaid technician, got paid to draw up some fucking plans and handed them in. And the guy's like, "Mr. President, I present to you the Trump class battleship." And Trump's like, "I fucking love it. Schedule the press conference."
Schedule it now.
I mean, it just so happens that this thing is the exact same size as the Iowa class. It's about as big. I mean, its displacement is a little less, but again, I'm assuming that's based on armaments and shit. I think that, especially in a potential war with China, where we are potentially losing ships, we need to be able to have something as big as the Trump class that's going to be as intricate. I mean, if we're talking energy weapons and things of that nature, that requires all this time and resources to build. I just don't think it's worth it. I mean, it was barely worth it in World War II. The only reason that battleships worked out for the United States in World War II is because we just had so many compared to everybody else. I mean, look, the Japanese lost all their battleships, the Germans lost all their battleships, the British lost most of theirs, the French lost most of theirs. It's like, those were the only reasons it fucking worked out, was because we just had so many.
Oh, yeah, we mass-produced the shit. And the problem now is we can't mass produce. Whether it's a battleship, whether it's a small, ship that we can kind of deploy like that, we can't do it. We literally can't fucking do it.
Why are we sending boots? I'm watching these videos you send me out of Venezuela. Why are we sending people? That's a whole nother discussion. That's a whole nother discussion. I'm just initial reports indicate that the U.S. Marine Corps has launched an amphibious assault. That implies boots on the ground.
Yep.
Which I was told, no more boots on the ground. I was told under this president we weren't going to do regime change. We weren't going
I
to.
mean, technically, what did he say? No more boots on the ground in a country on the other side of the planet. Maybe he
Okay,
could technically be
now
like,
we're. Well, isn't the southern hemisphere the other side of the planet compared to the north? I mean,
I
if we're gonna split
mean,
straws,
a Western Hemisphere.
what? Why? I don't know. I just imagine this goes. I don't think it will. The U.S. military is far outclasses the Venezuelan military, but
Yeah.
also think we are dealing with another potential insurgent thing similar to Iraq and Afghanistan. I mean, when you talk about if we're going with the White House's argument of narco terrorists, we're dealing with insurgents again. This would not be a regular military. I guarantee the Venezuelan military has already fucking surrendered.
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing a couple videos of hold on. There's this one. Guess it's Venezuelan troops patrolling the streets, harassing everybody.
They're like, get inside, motherfucker. The Americans are here.
I don't know if you guys know this, but we're being fucking bombed.
Hey, heads up, there's helicopters flying overhead. Not ours.
Venezuelan citizens can be heard screaming, "The Marines, the Marines, the Marines have arrived."
This is gonna go. Let's say.
I gotta listen to this one. Yeah, that's right. You better fucking be afraid. The boogeyman's there, motherfuckers.
Like, let's just hypothetically go out on a limb here. 100 Americans die on this. Like, I don't think that will happen. But is that worth it? Is it worth 100 Marines for this regime change?
You know, it depends on at the end of the day.
I mean, is slightly cheaper oil worth 100 Marine lives? Like I said, I don't think it'll come to that. Like, honestly speaking, I do not think. I guarantee that I'm willing to bet a significant amount of money I don't have to say that almost no Marines are even going to get injured in this. I guarantee this was the most well thought out operation in modern history. You know, this is in our backyard. They aren't going to want the bad PR of U.S. servicemen getting injured. I'm willing to bet this is highly thought out. But let's hypothetically say 100 Marines die. Is that worth it?
You know, I in the grand scheme of things of what I talked about earlier about the what's the word I'm looking for? The prelude?
Crude?
No.
Oh, bro, the prelude to World War III.
And the prelude to World War III. Yes. Hypothetically, if we think
To like
it's going to happen,
secure our backyard.
you and I don't know as much as what the U.S. military knows, and maybe they have intelligence of, hey, this is going to happen. Clear our backyard first. Make sure there's no threats to our hemisphere. Nobody can strike the U.S. mainland. Nobody can bottleneck our shipyards and this and that. We control this hemisphere. That means we're in a better position than China and Russia. We can push out. We're already in their backyard. We're there pounding them. They can't strike critical infrastructure here in the U.S. Because at the end of the day, I think.
So does that
China?
Well, does that give China, say, an opportunity, a casus belli to attack, say, South Korea or Japan? Hey, the Americans are now. I agree with you. They're not we are the sole world superpower.
We've been doing it since World War II.
But I mean, now they can sit there and hey, the Americans attacked a sovereign nation just because of who they were allied with. Japan's right across the fucking Chinese Sea from us.
Here's the thing, though. Since World War II, we've consistently have shown the rest of the world that we are the only ones who can do it.
Oh,
Anybody else
agreed.
who has done it, we've fought them
Well,
either directly or indirectly with proxy wars.
well, or like
And
we had said earlier, Russia's struggling with their next door neighbor, and
because the
China's
U.S.
been
gave them surplus military
and
hardware, and
and
we
China
bogged down the second most powerful military in the world.
and China. Well, that's now hindsight. That's debatable if they were the second most powerful. I'm beginning to think
Yeah.
Venezuela might have been above them, but.
Yeah,
But also,
certainly
I mean,
Ukraine was.
the you know Russia's been bogged down with their next door neighbor, and China's been gearing up for a war with Taiwan for 80 years.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think China strategically has to look at it and say, what do they have to lose? And I think they're building, obviously, the military capacity to not only invade Taiwan, but hold off the U.S. Navy and the U.S. military.
that's where I
They're
don't.
not.
That's where I
They're
don't.
not thinking about expand. They're not thinking about expansionism in the sense that Japan was in World War II.
Right.
They're thinking of reclaiming, settling a civil war. That's all they're thinking about. Settling a civil war from the 1950s, and can they hold off the United States?
But it's not just the United States. I mean, like realistically, let's think this out. If China goes to war with Taiwan, and the United States gets involved, Japan's getting involved, South Korea's getting involved, North Korea's getting involved. Probably India is going to take the opportunity to settle some border disputes they have with China.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this is not how it was even 5 years ago when we thought in a potential war with China, Russia's going to have their back. Russia doesn't.
That's the dual threat of the United States. One, it's the most powerful military to ever.
Oh, the Australians
Yeah,
and New Zealand in there too.
Not only are you facing the U.S. military, which is by far the most powerful to ever be on the surface of
You're
this
facing
planet,
all of our proxy or our vassals.
you're facing all of our allies at the same time.
Well,
right?
and that's kind of my point. Is like this is not, like I said, even 5 years ago, where China could reliably have called on Russia to back them up. All Russia's best soldiers have been dead for years at this point. Like you saw that TikTok I sent you recently. I think I sent it to you today, where they're, threatening their own soldiers with death and chaining them to trees and, hey, you're becoming a problem with me. Guess what? You're going in the next wave to the front. And they're what, already estimated over 1 million casualties. I mean, well, you saw the video. They were so desperate, they were sending guys on crutches with AKs strapped to their back into the fucking battles. So this isn't 5 years ago where China could reliably say, hey, maybe the U.S. is number one global superpower, but Russia and China are number 2 and number 3. Now it's like, if China wants to go to war with Taiwan, they're going to call on North Korea to get involved. But that's probably about all they can do. I mean, and I get, like, especially now if this is why we're invading Venezuela, and potentially Cuba now, which I didn't even know about. Thanks for ruining my night with that. Now they would have even less allies to disperse American forces with.
Well, what's wrong with the U.S. settling an old territorial dispute with Cuba?
Listen,
they technically were a U.S. territory, and I'm just saying.
Listen, I am all for the sovereignty of nations and everything, but the imperialist in me. Listen, maybe it's my European ancestors. Maybe it is just my fucking.
Cuba, I think Cuba's technically a U.S. territory, and that's an old.
No, it was a Spanish one that we fought in there.
That we took.
Listen, I'm just saying. Part of me wants to see Canada and Greenland and Mexico and Cuba all just become part of the United States of North America. I'm not saying it should happen. I'm just saying it'd be a really cool world.
Oh no, the European ancestry in me is thinking the same thing.
Listen, the leftist in me is like, hey, this is a terrible fucking idea. I would much rather universal health care. However, wouldn't it be cool to have the state of Cuba? Wouldn't it be cool for our Canadian friends that we game with to be full-blown American citizens, to take away their universal health care and give them B-2 bombers instead? To take those minerals from Greenland and Denmark by extension.
Who needs healthcare when you have
Who
bombers
needs
that can
healthcare?
strike the other side of the planet.
Exactly.
And they wouldn't even know we were there.
Sure, you're dying from cancer, but Venezuelans are dying from Apaches. It could be worse.
It could be worse. Ask the Venezuelans.
That's crazy to me that that's happened tonight. Well, that's.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. It's Friday too. So
Yeah.
Preston Stewart, who I've shared with you in the past, he had said anything that's going to happen in Venezuela is
They're gonna
probably going to
talk
happen
about
on a Friday or Saturday because after the markets close, Trump likes doing all his destabilizing things around the markets.
it. Well, he wasn't wrong.
I'm just watching more these videos of the stuff going on. Military tanks in the streets of Caracas near the presidential palace. It's one tank with wheels. It's not going to take on an M1 Abram.
Oh, the entire U.S. Air Force disabled nearly all flight tracking transponders at 1 a.m. Oh, I have this flight radar app. Hold on, I gotta check this out.
I saw something about that they'd shut off all their transponders.
Oh no, get the fuck out of my way. I'm trying to see this.
I wonder if they've got. I wonder if they're going to try to capture Maduro or if they're going to execute him, like assassinate him.
Holy shit! Let me
I,
take a screenshot of this right now.
I wonder. I wonder if he's alive right now.
He's in one of those Saddam holes.
Oh yeah, he's in a bunker somewhere underneath the presidential palace. But
Or if or he might be dead.
I'll say is that
I mean, there's some
is
flights
that the
out
is
over Trinidad.
are those civilian flights?
Yeah, those are civilian flights, clearly going around Venezuela.
Well, they've been going around Venezuela for a minute, haven't they? Because Trump said that he was closing Venezuelan airspace, and I mean, it
Yeah.
was a tweet, but I remember seeing the air traffic pictures that you know they were still avoiding Venezuela just to be safe.
Well, clearly they didn't shut anything down around Puerto Rico, so this must be happening from aircraft carriers.
They got to be
'Cause
close. The aircraft carriers have to be close if Apaches are attacking. I don't know what the range on a helicopter is, but I can't imagine it's far. I can't imagine they're coming out from past Haiti. I mean, I'm looking at this picture you sent me. I can't imagine they're past Puerto Rico sending helicopters. I don't know what is the range on an Apache helicopter. 260 to 300 nautical miles. That's the combat range. So that is, I'm assuming, like there and back, probably.
I'm getting it all
But
over the news. Venezuela under U.S. attack, foreign minister.
And I can't wait to see what the UN has to say about it.
I'm sure they'll condemn the United States. Da 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 da.
Again, this is. Europeans irritate me because of that shit.
Oh no shit. Chinese President Xi Jinping's special envoy met with Venezuelan Venezuelan President Maduro on Friday.
Oh, I think I might have scrolled past that. I thought I saw a picture of the two of them. Where was it? I scrolled past. I might have lost it. Oh no, here it is. Chinese officials are reportedly on the ground in Venezuela during U.S. airstrikes. Delegations are just arrived early today. Oh my God, can you imagine if we accidentally kill some of these Chinese civilians? I mean, not that they can do anything.
Yeah.
I wonder if he gave. I mean, the U.S. had to know they were there. I wonder if he gave China like a heads up, like, "Hey, morning, President Xi. I'm bombing Venezuela in 10 minutes. Tell your people to take cover." Let's be real. China doesn't give a fuck about Venezuela.
No,
I mean, not from any moral, standpoint. it's similar to how China views Africa. What can you do for me?
Yeah. Interesting.
God, of course this has to happen right before I'm about to go to bed. This will be,
Right.
by the time I wake up, we're already going to have some fucking states laid down and some governors elected.
Maduro will be dead.
I wonder if he is. That's the only thing I'm curious about right now is...
He was
Wait,
either
wait.
dead. He's either dead or captured.
Venezuela media claims air defenses shot down a U.S. helicopter.
I could see that. I could see that happening. They were kind of flying low.
That I'm not reading that from an official source, for the record. And that is just a thing I'm seeing on Twitter. It wouldn't surprise me, like you said, though. I'm watching those videos. Those guys were, I could have thrown rocks and hit them. They were flying so low.
Yeah, they. Yeah, so this is what I've seen. 20 hours. Maduro says Venezuela is ready to make a deal with U.S. on drugs and oil after military. That was after military strike. So that was that CIA strike. That was 20 hours ago.
Fox News pundits say the U.S. invasion of Venezuela is for national security against Hezbollah and Iran, as well as Russia and China.
Shut the fuck up, Fox News.
Yes, Venezuela famous for its Islamic militants. I think that's more for, like, to your point earlier about, like, a potential World War III. You know,
Yeah,
hey,
no,
take out some of the weaker allies now while we can.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I think literally Iran is fucking around to find out.
Shit's going crazy. Iran's on the brink of revolution. The United States is invading Venezuela at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, because Trump threatened.
You know,
I think I told you that today. Well, Friday. That Trump threatened Iran if they attack their.
yeah. You know what's crazy too is, like, to put things into perspective again about America being the only sole superpower. Russia is bogged down in Ukraine. Their next door neighbor. They've been bogged down for years at this point, with an estimated 1 million casualties. China's been preparing for a war with Taiwan for 80 years. The United States a month ago didn't even know Venezuela existed. And now we're already have a fucking full planned out military invasion underway, Apache attack helicopters flying across their skies, allegedly the Marine Corps touching down. This is actually much more large scale than I was anticipating. I was expecting F-35s and F-22s just doing bombing on sites.
Oh, I'm sure they're in the skies.
Oh, I'm sure they are too, but I was not expecting helicopters and potentially, I mean, that said, the Marine Corps has made an amphibious invasion. I would imagine that implies, infantry on the ground and vehicles and stuff. So, assuming that's correct information and there are boots and tanks and jeeps and shit on the ground, that's way more in depth than I think anybody thought it was. Also, go on.
I think this was like quick action. Strike all military targets.
Blitzkrieg.
Amphibious assault.
Hit them with
the capital.
overwhelm.
Yep.
Force the Venezuelan military to surrender before they can do anything.
Yeah, kind of like
a shock and
awe.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm curious. Okay, and this goes back into, not to keep this conversation going much longer, but I'm curious. Can you just imagine if Joe Biden had done this? Republicans would have been maybe behind the scenes supporting it, but you would have had Pete Hegseth and J.D. Vance and fucking Mike Johnson on Fox News tomorrow talking about how this is an abuse of the executive branch. Congress wasn't even,
Formed.
informed about this. This is a complete overreach. He's a dictator. This is what communist countries do. But I guarantee you, Mike Johnson is going to be on fucking C-SPAN tomorrow while I'm, when I check the news in the morning when I wake up, and it's going to be this is decisive action by our president. This is strengthened leadership. This is what we've needed as a country.
This is a message to Venezuela or Russia and China that the U.S. is here and it's strong. And
Meanwhile, Democrats are going to be foaming at the mouth and
oh yeah,
talking about how this is more U.S. interventionism and more U.S. imperialism, and how this is terrible for our country. And again, things are shades of gray. Things are nuanced. I am not fully, I don't.
The thing is, there's smart lawyers working for the Pentagon in the U.S. government.
Oh, absolutely.
It was only a matter of time. You could see it with all these designations. He legally built the framework to allow them to do this by declaring literally Congress gave the president that power.
Congress neutered themselves over the past 50 years.
All the president has to do is declare a country a terrorist, state sponsor of terrorists, or declare them a terrorist organization.
They don't even have to do that. They don't. It's special military operations. I mean, the last declared war the United States was in was, I believe, World War II, wasn't it? We didn't declare war on Korea. We didn't declare war on Vietnam. I believe like the operation in Desert Storm was, or not Desert Storm. I believe 9/11. That was like they voted on it, but I don't believe it was to go to war. Actually, I think there was more.
We declared war on terrorism.
Yeah, that exactly. So it's like Congress has neutered themselves over the past, 80 years, realistically, to where you're going to have Democrats and Thomas Massie, and again, we spoke about this earlier, rightfully so, sitting there saying this should lie with Congress. Congress should have made this decision, not the president. But technically speaking, legally speaking, Democrats are going to be tweeting about this all day tomorrow about how Trump, has thrown the Constitution in the trash, and he's a dictator, and he's doing this, that, and the other. He didn't break any laws. He has acted well within his authority that Congress has pawned off on the executive.
And you'll have Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer out there saying the things, but you can look right at them and say, you were the leaders of the Democratic Party in the early 2000s when you gave the Bush administration these powers. You allowed it to happen. You literally signed off.
I believe it was.
You were behind them 100%.
What is it? I think back in the 80s, Congress gave the president power to like 100-day special military operations and stuff with like Panama and Nicaragua and things like that. Like, Congress has slowly eroded their own power for decades. And now when the president
using is the terrorism thing, and
that too, yeah. I mean,
after 9/11,
now all you got to do is say this person's a terrorist. I'm sending in the military, and that's all the justification you need. And to your point, again, Trump. I mean, we've seen this leading up to this. He has expertly done that by their narco terrorists. These are terrorist organizations. They've been very careful about their wording. And they've set up the justification, the casus belli for it, casus belli, and it's look, they're going to complain about it, and I am in Thomas Massie's camp on this. I'm left leaning, but I agree with Thomas Massie on this. That hey, this should be Congress's decision, but Congress needs to fucking get their shit together and stop with this populism trend, and we need to throw our full might behind the president as long as they're the president. The president is of our party, and no matter what, we can never criticize them if they're our party and stuff. Congress needs to sit there and go, no, actually, this is our fucking job. We want it back. Because again, to the point that I made earlier. Let's say some Marines get killed. Let's say some civilians get killed. Let's say an Apache attack helicopter gets fucking shot down. Or let's say a Chinook full of fucking Marines gets shot down right now, God forbid, and it crashes into a fucking apartment building in Venezuela, kills a bunch of women and children. None of us had a fucking say in that.
No.
Let's say one of these missiles fucking misses their target and hits a fucking apartment. None of us had a say in that. The Congress didn't get a debate on it. My elected representatives that I voted for last year didn't get a say in it because Congress gave away their power and doesn't want to do anything to get it back. And now it's also part of it is because now they can do things like this. Hey, it's plausible
They won't
that
even start the conversation.
well, part of it's plausible deniability. When Mike Johnson inevitably runs for vice president with J.D. Vance or whatever, or fucking Hakeem Jeffries decides he wants to run for president or something, he can be like, "Well, hey, we had no say in that. That's not on me. I wasn't involved in those tragic deaths." Yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
and from
it was Congress's job to declare war, but the president did that.
yeah, the commander in chief, he's in charge of the military.
They get plausible deniability, so they get to wash their hands when anything does go sideways. Even to the Republicans, if this goes horribly sideways, let's say worst case scenario, worst possible case scenario, let's say this goes horribly sideways, the mission's a complete failure. Maduro survives, maintains control of Venezuela. Hypothetically, in this fucking mystery world, American forces are pushed back into the ocean. A bunch of planes and helicopters are shot down. Mike Johnson can go up and run for president in 4 years and sit there and say, "Hey, I had no say in that. That was Trump. He didn't. He did that. We didn't get a vote on it. I would have voted against it if had I had a say, but he didn't give us a say." Congress gets to wash their hands of every bad thing possible because of this situation, and not this specific one, but because they've neutered themselves.
I am curious what is the objective of this? Are we going in and just removing Maduro, then getting out?
I would imagine there's.
Or are we going in and are we going to control the capital?
I would imagine there's if I had to guess, because I've seen I think his name's Juan Guaido. I've seen his name floated a few times in recent the past like 2 weeks. If I had to guess, we're going to install him as a temporary leader until, quote unquote, until elections are held. And I bet we do not have enough faith in the Venezuelan military to not either A, try to form a fucking junta, which the South American countries are famous for, or B, Juan Guaido to have enough support to maintain power until such time. I'm betting there's going to be a significant military force in the capital at the least.
Yeah, I can see a future U.S. military outpost in Venezuela just to kind of keep things in check.
I'm willing to bet there's going to be a naval
South
base.
America.
I'm willing to bet we're about to have a new naval base. The Trump naval base in Venezuela.
The Trump naval air base.
Yeah, I mark my fucking words. I guarantee that's what's going to happen.
By this guy we're going to install.
It's going to be the Trump. He's going to go down there, pick a fucking port, and he's going to be like, "I would like to show you guys the Trump Vance naval and air base that we are graciously giving our, the people who helped put me in power."
Free of charge?
Free of charge. It's also going to have a fueling area where we can just so happen to load up a bunch of crude oil to ship off. What a world.
Giant economic port where we will be shipping out oil and natural resources just straight north to the United States.
What a world. I was not anticipating that.